So I feel like I need to do this today. Don't know what it is today. Because I'm seeing a lot of people at the moment who are struggling. Like a friend of mine on Facebook just put quite a heartwarming post about having to hide away for days because that person felt suicidal. And I get it, I really get it. And I think we really, really need to just talk about this more. However, I've started something today. It's very CBT related. So I personally, I'm not a lover of CBT methods, but I do think it's important for everyone to do this. And I know it's hard when you're depressed and you just feel like you just want to curl up. But I really think it's important to do some kind of chart like this. So I've put here where I was and where I am today. And as you can see, I've sort of made notes on my progress. And it has relieved me a little bit, to be honest. I'm someone that I need everything done straight away, and I need to have an answer, and I need to feel like I've got results instantly. And I know that's just not possible enough, and that's why a lot of people who've got big entrepreneurial ideas fail quite quickly, because they just put themselves under too much pressure. And that's what I did. So I'll talk about it now. I didn't want to for a while, but 2018 was horrific. In fact, 2017 leading into 2018 was horrific. I had all sorts of problems. I felt, looking back, some stupid life decisions, which actually, if someone was to present them to me again, I'd be like, absolutely no way would I ever consider doing those again. But at the time, for some reason in my head, I thought they were right. So the where I was column, okay, and I want to tell you this because I think when people struggle, they think that actually no one else in the world actually really understands the severity. Well, I'll tell you what I do. I really do, because I'm still struggling right now to get everything done and to feel like I'm complete and that I am, I'm worthy. So I'm going to go through very, very quickly all the stuff that I was experiencing probably about this time. I'd say this time last year. First one, okay, driving license. I'm going to be honest here. I haven't told many people this because I was so embarrassed it happened. Well, that wasn't my fault. My stupid GP back in Ireland put down on my notes that I had obstructive sleep apnea when all I went for was just a nasal congestive cold. It was after January last year, and I was just struggling. So I was snoring, I was just feeling a bit drowsy, but I was just like, I just don't feel well, but this just won't shift. Gave me a nasal spray with the driving licence thing. And I was really honest. When I went to Northern Ireland, me being me, I had to swap my licence because for an Irish one, I ticked the box saying I had depression, which actually, looking at the symptoms I had, I didn't need to declare that to the DVLA. So it opened a whole can of worms. Anyway, so while they were doing the medical investigations, a doctor that I'd never even met put down obstructive sleep apnea, which obviously I didn't have. So of course they refused me a licence. I couldn't drive for 4 weeks. It was horrific. I appealed it and I put in complaints and they admitted the mistake. But, that was so stressful. So here, driving licence, I've done like a little timeline. Obviously now, what happened was around here, where I had to swap it back to a GB licence with the DVLA, because over there it's the DVA, they were like, oh, we've got something on your medical record. So God knows where they got that from. Anyway, it's sorted. My doctor over here has been brilliant. He was like, he doesn't have it. He's never had it. There's no reason for him not to drive. So here today, I've got it all sorted. And it's just a worry, like all the neurotic worries I had here. Second thing, this time last year, I was living in Northern Ireland. I completely isolated myself. I made the decision to remove a toxic relationship. I became very ill due to stress. I was out there on my own. I actually realised that my family couldn't get in the car and come and see me no matter how far away. I had to get on a plane and I had to do the same. I couldn't pack the dogs in. I had to get someone to look after them, which I wasn't really happy with. And then obviously today, I'm able to get to my family in a car with a journey. Last year as well, when I was selling my house in Ireland, the conveyancing process in Northern Ireland was absolutely horrific. I've never experienced it before. Don't get me wrong, I've done buying and selling 3 times in my life, and that was just awful, absolutely awful. So I had worries of if I sell my house in Ireland, I'm going to fall off the property there if my house doesn't complete here. So here, own property. I started all these business ideas last year, severely depressed, and I was doing things that really weren't sensible, I think, because again, my head wasn't in the right place. I was sort of spending grant money on things that I needed for the business, but actually I probably didn't need to buy until further on down the line. And then all of a sudden I was struggling with getting clients, and because of my health. But you know, I'm starting to break even with a small profit, and I didn't even open this business, like I opened this not even a year ago. Romantic relationships, for those people that know me, I had probably the worst example of a narcissist that I was with before. Just, you know, examples of verbal abuse and stuff, and yeah. And now obviously I had some troubles meeting people. I had no faith. Obviously now I've met someone, you know, not being able to get out of bed before 9 a.m, you know, like with depression, it's awful because you just can't move. The mornings are hard for me, and I would find myself laying in till 10, 11 because I just couldn't face getting out of bed, sometimes later. Whereas now I wake up before 9 a.m. every day and I get myself up, and it's still difficult. I still get these feelings in my head every morning, but there's something that scares me about being in bed later than sort of 9 o'clock, especially working from home and being self-employed. You know, sometimes you don't need to get up, so I make sure I do that. So there, you know, I've done waking up. Obviously last year, my mental health and everything I had going on, I fell behind with some debts, which is probably the most stressful thing for your mental health. And if anyone needs advice, just message me. So I've really have learned how to deal with creditors in terms of explaining sort of your situation. So I put, you know, last year creditors, ignoring phone calls and stuff, and then obviously today I've got an arrangement with them all. I've discussed all my health problems. They've actually been really good. And then I think the final one was the suicidal thoughts, ideation. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, that's very common. Those thoughts do cross your mind. It doesn't mean you're going to act on them. And I've learned the difference between just having them there and actually not acting upon them. So, you know, just, I think I've put, I didn't put anything there, but basically I'm going to put in there, you know, that actually I wouldn't do anything because I think the reality for me is leaving the people behind. I just couldn't do that to them, no matter how much pain I'm going through. So guys, I really think you need to do a chart. I think you need to do some kind of chart that helps you with where you were, when all this started, where you were. This could even be yesterday, right? It could be yesterday, last week, and where you are today, and just put in there like the journey and the struggles and where you're at. You know, like it could be yesterday you were in bed and you were feeling like shit, but actually today you've managed to get up and you've managed to get dressed. And I know it's very CBT based, and like I said, I don't find CBT for major depression very helpful. I find it too light. Some people, again, everyone has a different method that they use. For me, it doesn't work, but I just had to do this. I think CBT works when you're by yourself and when you really want to push yourself. Anyway, so we've been chatting for 10 minutes. But what I need to basically say to everyone is, everyone does go through some awful times. And actually looking at motivational speakers on YouTube, Mel Robbins is a good one. I remember she was saying that, you know, she had awful time. Her husband's business went under and she couldn't get out of bed in the morning, and you know, so actually it's good to actually hear that from other people, because then you don't feel so alone. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm here, my inbox is open for anyone. Honestly, like, just drop me a message. If I can't help you straight away, then I'll get back to you. I'll always talk to you. I really will. Okay. Anyway, speak soon.